Hey, I'm Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and today's question that every home buyer should ask is this: what is a dual agent? And I talked about in the last few videos what a buyer's agent is, what a listing agent is, and I want to give at least a little bit of a spotlight on the idea of dual agency. So in the past, a real estate agent or a seller would hire a real estate agent or firm to sell a house, and that agent would be representing the seller, but also trying to get a buyer, bring in a buyer, and then they would essentially get a large fat commission to represent the seller. And the buyer had no representation. So more recently, we've seen the rise of a buyer's agent, somebody that represents the buyer in the transaction. Well, a dual agent is usually the seller's agent, listing agent, and that listing agent either knows a buyer that wants to buy the house, or they have somebody come through an open house or call on the sign, and they decide, you know what, I'm going to represent the seller and the buyer in the transaction, and I'm going to double dip, and I'm going to get twice as big of a commission. So makes great sense for the agent, right? The problem is that, in my opinion, there's a large conflict of interest there. Now, it's legal in Washington state as long as the seller and the buyer agree on it, but that doesn't make it a good idea. So if you are in that situation, you're a buyer and you're thinking about buying a house, if you contact the listing agent and the listing agent is helping you write up the contract, they are representing the seller, or if you both agree to it, they can be a dual agent. But what happens then is they're getting paid twice as much. They're representing both of you, but really their representation is limited. So Washington state law, there's certain duties that they owe to both of you, and they can't completely fulfill all of those duties. What they have to do is compromise in some areas with both of you to where they're more of an order taker and less of a negotiator in the middle. And there's other nuances to it all, but essentially what happens is you aren't getting your full representation on either side. Now, in theory, it's legal, and again, in theory, you can do it, but I personally don't prefer to do it, and I don't think dual agency is a great idea.